Wade, we're back down here at Seasons, a new season, the 2023-24 season. The lads have been back in for pre-season the last couple of weeks. How's it been to be back in and around it all?
It's been good. The 5-6 weeks went quick. So, in fairness, lads have come back in really good shape. Not one beer belly on them, which I don't know what they've been doing in their 6 weeks, not like when I played. And now they've worked really hard. So they've had, the first week was all about getting some volume into them and bedding them back in. And then this week they've been hit, in fairness. They've had a very tough week, which will culminate in the game tomorrow.
And you mentioned that game tomorrow, that's what it all sort of gears up to, doesn't it? It's sort of getting the lads back in, getting them ready, and then all kicks off again with that game tomorrow afternoon. What's sort of the takeaway you're looking to get out of it?
No, Shrewsbury. So it's all gearing towards Shrewsbury. I'm not really, with the greatest respect, I'm not too fussed on sort of, we don't need to be brilliant tomorrow. It'd be great if we are, but they've had a really tough week. They'll go into it a little bit fatigued, a little bit tired. I'm still expecting a decent performance, but tomorrow is all part of the process to gear towards Shrewsbury. And you know what sort of week you were at the boxing on Tuesday, so you know how they've worked.
You mentioned that sort of 6 week break. It's a summer where it can be a turnover, things change, and things have changed here. Start with sort of the staff side of things, start with Mickey and Marcus moving on. How's that sort of changed things, both here and with training?
Well, it's the timing of it has obviously impacted on us. So there's no dressing up, it's a little bit of a speed bump. The timing wasn't ideal, but it is what it is, and we'll have to deal with it. We always knew that Mickey and Marcus had a relationship going back a long way. So I think Marcus's ultimate loyalty was to Mickey, which you can understand. And listen, Mickey, for as much as he had a good time here, his loyalty now is to himself and to Shrewsbury. So he's done what he felt he had to do. It obviously, impacts on us a little bit, but I'm sure that's not his primary concern at the moment. But in terms of Marcus, he came in and he did good work, and he was good around the place, and he came in with some good ideas, some bad ideas, which all coaches have. But he certainly contributed, and we've taken some of his best practice on board and evolved and tweaked. And what it does do is it gives us the opportunity now to get another voice in and some more ideas, and hopefully that will push us on even further forward. So the timing of it's not, like I said, the timing of it's not ideal, but I think it's a good opportunity for us to sort of look at that department, what we want to bring in, how can we make it stronger, and try and take it from there.
We mentioned Mickey moving on. One change we've had on that front, sort of change around in the club, is Russ taking on the whole role of head of recruitment. Obviously, you know him from working here. How has that change sort of been? How's he found sort of moving into that new role?
I think he's enjoyed it. I think you'd have to ask him how he's found it. But obviously, there was a structure that we anticipated with Russ and Tom where their skill sets would have balanced each other out, and we thought we would have had a good team, a good pairing. Mickey obviously came in and took Tom as well, but Russ has been typical Russ. Nothing phases him. He's sort of attacked it with typical gusto, and we're fortunate really. We're quite far down the line with lists of players and conversations and recruitment, and it's not like we haven't got bundles and bundles to do. We've got good numbers in the squad, so we're fairly comfortable with where we are recruitment wise, and we feel that we're in a decent position.
Move on to sort of the player side of things. Obviously, the likes of Jacko and Ryan Broom moved on in recent weeks, but today the big one is that Alfie's moved on. It's been something that's been bumbling on. Obviously, not a shock. Something that's been bumbling on for quite a while now, isn't it? And it's a shame to see him go, not only as a player but as the man he is as well. Something that you've had the privilege of coaching through over the last couple of years.
No, it's a shame. It's a shame to see him go. And I've got to say, first and foremost, I think I've really seen the growth in him over the past 3 years, primarily as a person. So, you know, sort of 3 years ago he came back in and he got read the riot act a little bit, and he came back for pre-season in really good shape, and we were all waiting thinking, can he sustain it, and he was excellent. He did. He sort of, the year we won the league, he maintained it, kept it going. When he was in the team, when he was out of the team, his attitude never dropped, and he's really run with that. And I think certainly last season I gave him, you know, we lost some of the more experienced players 12 months ago, and I gave Alfie a bigger role in the group and a little bit more responsibility, and he thrived on that. I think the way that he's evolved over the past 3 seasons, now he carries himself, now he looks after himself, has really given him the best opportunity for his ability to come out on the pitch, and his work off the pitch is what's got him his reward on it. So really seen that growth in him. Would like to feel I had a really good relationship with him. And in terms of the club, it is sad to see him go, because he's a big figure, and he's been a big part in our recent history. But he goes with our best wishes for what he's done. We bought him for a very small fee. He's given us unbelievable service, and we've turned a decent profit on him. From Alfie's perspective, you've got to respect what he's given the football club, and respect that he's got the opportunity to move back home. He's got a young family. He's got a chance to earn, it'll be a better contract than we could ever offer him. Don't think that's a secret. And you've got to respect that, Alfie's worked hard to put himself in the position that he's in, and it's a very short career, and he's got the chance to provide for his family off the back of it. So I think everybody's respectful of that because of what he's done, and he goes with our best wishes. I think Charlton they're getting a good player, and they're getting a really good lad.
Players go, but players come as well, and we've had a couple that have come in.
Well, we've got a vacancy now. We've got a vacancy for a 20-goal a season forward. And one thing we have shown is that, with evidence over the past season, we'll provide chances for someone. So if someone wants to get themselves in the box, and we'll make the same amount of chances for someone next season that we did for Alfie, and then someone wants to sort of put themselves in those position, there's the opportunities there for someone.
And the lads that have come in, obviously the likes of Rob Street, Curtis Davis, Jamie Paddington have been added to the squad. How have they sort of fit in so far? And there's some really big names there in terms of Curtis. You know him well from your days at Birmingham City.
Yeah, I know Kurt well, obviously. But the three you mentioned, the common denominator is that they're good characters. They're really good characters. So Jamie's a real young one who's came in on trial probably 8-9 months ago, and we've maintained the dialogue, and he's seen the pathway with Max Harris, and Jamie's really bought into that. He's hungry and he's eager and he wants to do well, and he trains hard and he wants to learn. Rob's a really exciting one. So Rob's got lots and lots of attributes. He's had 2 loan spells where he's been out, and usually it's us taking players on loan and other teams get the benefit. We do feel that Rob's done those yards and that we could benefit off the back of that. He's strong, he's quick, he can finish. He needs a little bit of direction on making sure he doesn't do too much of his work outside of the goal, between the sticks. But again, he's another brilliant character. He had a lot of interest, and Rob could have earned more money elsewhere, but he wanted the platform and he wanted the opportunity. So that's a good basis for making a decision on where you want to go. And character-wise, he's excellent. So I spoke to Steve Cottrell about him, and Steve gave him a really good character reference. And in fairness to Steve, he does know a player. He signed me twice, Jamie, so he can spot a player. And then Curtis, so I think first and foremost, we brought Curtis in because we think he's a really good player. He played he played a lot of games for a top 6 team in this league last year. So we think that he can help us on the pitch. I know people will. I know the first question mark about Kurt will be his age, but I'm pretty sure if Luka Modric was wanting to come to Cotswolds on a free, we'd take him. And in terms of around the place, he's got a real presence, real leadership, a little bit of gravitas, and he wants to be around people. He wants to help. He wants to support, and he'll be really good for supporting the ones who set the tone in there already.
Yeah, you mentioned Curtis. Like, he is just a great guy around the place. And the first thing he said when he spoke to us was, "I'm not just here to make up numbers. I'm here to help out Wade, help out the team, and play a big part." So that really shows his character and really puts that sort of question of his age to bed, really, doesn't it?
Well, he wants to play. He wants. I don't want to. He's certainly not here for the money. And Curtis is, after football, Kurt will have plenty of options. So, and Kurt could have chosen different things, but he loves the game. He wants to play. I think he likes the idea of coming in and helping set the culture and drive the standards and being a big part of that. And yeah, we think that's a really good one. Like you say, Kurt's been in England squads, so he's been at an unbelievable level. He's played in FA Cup finals. He's played in Europe. He's Premier League games, big clubs. So we'd have lads who aspire to that, and they'll look at Curtis and they'll think the first thing they'll look at is how he conducts himself, how he trains, and they'll want to replicate that because they want to get to where he's been, and he can give them the map to get there.
And sort of to finish off is the one that everyone always keeps their eye on, is the players that are coming in. Obviously, you mentioned replacing half. You've already had a couple come in, and you mentioned the conversations that have been had. You and Russ sort of irons in the fire, trying to get people in. I suppose that's sort of the background bit over the next couple of weeks, is still trying to add those 1 or 2 more faces into the squad for that Shrewsbury game when we start the season.
Yeah, and that's probably there's clubs up and down the country are in the. We won't be any different to them really. There's loads of conversations, loads of players that that are on our radar and that we're talking about. But we want to make sure that we get we don't have infinite funds, so we want to make sure that we get the right ones on the pitch, off the pitch. But yeah, I know everyone clamours for new signings, but it's we're fortunate we don't have loads and loads to do. But there's plenty of work going on behind the scenes in that regard.